So it's been a while since I've talked about the land of syrup and snow, my home country that is currently under the dictatorship of pretty boy in chief Justin Trudeau, who it seems has made it his life goal to replace oil as our #1 export for cringe. So unbearable that I would rather be chased around by the Black Bloc in Germany than deal with it.
Oh hey, I just thought I'd show our friends in the US and the UK how Canada brings it.
Boom! I could never bring myself to completely abandon my home though, but someone seriously needs to take out the trash because it is stinking up the place. And it has been a couple of months since I've done some good spring cleaning on Canada, and since then, well, apparently my country has no borders anymore. In the first 6 months of this year, there were over 4,000 illegal border crossings to Canada, with the vast majority of crossings being done by Haitians at the Quebec-New York border. And I get it, 4,000 may not seem that bad, especially considering what Europe is dealing with right now. But these numbers are ramping up quickly. Last month, the illegal crossings from the US into Canada more than tripled from the previous month. And despite his vacuous rants about diversity and acceptance, it seems even Trudeau has gone into panic mode, saying, "We are an open and free society, but we also need to have laws, and this craziness kind of needs to stop." Funny, that doesn't really echo his sentiments from late January, where he tweeted, "To those fleeing persecution, terror, and war, Canadians will welcome you regardless of your faith." A kind of jab at Trump during the whole Muslim ban crisis. He then added his really creepy mantra, "Diversity is our strength," and hashtag "Welcome to Canada." Apparently all that diversity is our strength stuff goes out the door when thousands of people actually break the law, and you look at the checking books of what our nation can and cannot afford. It's almost like Trudeau is a virtue-signaling twat who was elected through nepotism and just uses social justice as a caveat to keep getting on the front cover of Teen Vogue. But let's see if he actually does anything about it, because right now we have over 1,000 people living in tents near the Quebec border, and we even have Olympic stadiums being used to house new arrivals. And for those of you who don't know, Quebec is a province which takes more from the federal government than it gives, and it is now having its resources strained even more than they usually are, especially in the housing department. Let's just hope we don't repeat that time where a Canadian single mother and all her kids were booted from their home to make room for refugees. But I'm not going to keep my hopes up, so great job on that front, Canada. I mean, who needs borders around a post-national state anyway, am I right? Now, along with our teen idol Prime Minister, Canada is extremely well known for our rabid SJWs, so things are never going all that well on the free speech front. Just a few days ago, the University of Ryerson was scheduled to hold an event on the stifling of free speech on university campuses, which was unfortunately stifled by university officials. It's almost like you don't even need to have the event to prove the point. Officials claimed that there were too many security issues after Charlottesville, and if you're thinking that those threats are coming from guys in Dodge Chargers, you're wrong. Graphics of the speakers' names, including Jordan Peterson, Gad Sad, and Faith Goldie, were being circulated online with swastikas beside them, encouraging people to disrupt and shut down the event. And apparently 2,000 people were interested in doing just that. So after tons of calls, emails, and demands for it to be shut down, the administration caved, as administrations usually do, which was why they were having this event. Oh, it's just ridiculous. The organizer of the event, Serena Singh, unfortunately incurred over $4,000 in losses because of the debacle, but she's still determined to make it happen in October. So if you want to check out or attend the event, please go to the link in the description below. Now, if you're not depressed enough by the current state of Canada, just recently there was a disciplinary hearing for a judge who wore a MAGA hat to the courtroom one day, and he wasn't even a Trump supporter. He just meant it as a gag amongst his colleagues. But still, a record number of 81 complaints poured into the Judicial Council, and Judge Zabel is on the hot seat now. Famous Canadian journalist Christy Blatchford summed this up best by saying, "The 69-year-old judge could not have committed a more heinous crime. I am utterly confident that had he assaulted someone in his courtroom, urinated upon the common street, or appeared drunk in public, the outcry would have been far less great than it was for the crime he has admitted. And yes, we're still talking about the Trump hat here. Our legal system is wasting their time, and a judge's time being triggered over a red hat. I thought it was their job to remain logical. Didn't they spend like 8+ years in school studying how to do that? But apparently I'm wrong. Now, of course, Canadians are not just triggered over red hats. Our virtue signaling elites are feeling awfully left out over the 24-hour news coverage of tiki torches and the rise of the Fourth Reich going on in the States right now. So they have decided to have their own spurg out over alleged anti-Semitic graffiti in Winnipeg, Manitoba the other day. Comedian Lara Ray was walking down the street with a friend and stumbled across some horrific graffiti. She stated that to look down on the ground and see this horrible, horrible, racist, anti-Semitic garbage, it's just so distressing. The community was so upset that even the mayor came out to comment, stating he's sickened and the community must denounce these acts of hate. This was then made a national issue when the director of the League of Human Rights for Benign Birth Canada chimed in, giving more context to how this graffiti is anti-Semitic and a clever, insidious tactic by neo-Nazis to create copycats of Charlottesville. Now, after hearing about this outrage, you may be thinking to yourself, horrific odes to Hitler beneath huge swastikas were being painted in the blood of Jews in Canada? No, it was literally just barely visible scribbles on the ground that said, "Lost white civilizations," "Soros wants you dead," and "Soros?" ? The horror. How will Canada ever recover? The fact that this is a national story in Canada being reported on by our tax dollar funded media, and that people are having a panic attack over these scribblings by one guy, is just sad, quite frankly. Not to mention them calling it anti-Semitic. I mean, I've been told by multiple Jewish people that Soros is an anti-white, anti-Western asshole that they hate being associated with. So if anything, Benai is creating anti-Semitism by acting like attacking Soros is attacking all Jews. And America, you thought you had your problems with SJWs erasing your history. Well, Canada literally wants to strip its founder from our schools at the moment. Our first Prime Minister, John A. Macdonald, is just too triggering for teachers in Ontario, so they are now petitioning to have his name and monuments removed. And you know what the saddest part of all this is? A lot of these issues I'm talking about are just Canadian leftists saying, "Us too," and wanting to be more relevant like American leftists, so they just act 10 times as crazy over significantly less important things. You're probably going to see a huge outrage over statues in Canada soon, just like you're seeing the outrage over the red cap. And probably the most embarrassing situation in Canada, Black Lives Matter creating a group here, despite us not having remotely the same police shooting issues or the same history of slavery, and them pretending they're relevant at all here. And we've also got growing Antifa in Canada. It's just so sad to watch Canadian leftists try to copy the problems of Americans. So, America, please stop giving your bad ideas to our crazies here, because it's ruining it for the rest of us who just want to have campfires and Tim Hortons and chill. Anyways, that wraps up this week in Canada, or this month, I guess. I'm not really sure, but if you guys enjoyed this video, I could maybe turn it into a series on my channel and give more updates on the Canada situation. Let me know in the comments if you would like that, and thank you for watching. I will see you next time.